Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Asmadgurubhyo Namaha. Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Bhadram Garne Vishnuyaama Devah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajhatrah Sthirairangaye Stuštuvagum Sastanubhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti nastarksho Arishthanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dhadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So Namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So we completed the discussion on the Bhashyam of the second mantra in the last class. So now we move to the mantra number 3 and we will read the mantra. I will read and you can chant after me. Shaunako Havai
Shaunako Havai
Mahashalongirasam
Mahashalongirasam
Vidivattupasannaha
Vidivattupasanna
Papracha
Papracha
Kasminnu Bhagavo Vignate
Kasminnu Bhagavo Vignate
Sarvamidam Vignatam Bhavati iti.
Sarvamidam Vignatam Bhavati iti.
Very good. Thank you. So in this mantra, the dialogue between Angiras and his disciple Shaunaka is being talked about. In fact, the entire Upanishad is the dialogue between Angiras and Shaunaka only. And that is being introduced in this mantra. Angiras Papracha. This is the main sentence of the mantra. First we will see the Padacheda and then we will go and discuss the mantra. Shaunakaha Havai Mahashalaha Angirasam Vidivat Upasannaha Papracha Kasminnu Bhagavaha Vignate Sarvamidam Vignatam Bhavati iti. Very simple Padacheda. One or two sandhis are there which we have to split. That's all. So here, a disciple whose name is Shaunaka. Havai. Havai means indeed. But here, it is used in the sense of remembrance of the past. Like we know, we start stories and all, like once upon a time, there was a king, like that, you know. So here we can literally translate Havai as indeed, but The import of that Hawaii is that once upon a time there was a Shishya called Shaunakaha. That is the implication of this Hawaii. Mahashalaha. Mahashalaha is an adjective to Shaunakaha. So Shaunakaha, who was a Mahashalaha. Mahashalaha we have already discussed when we saw the introduction. Mahashalaha means one who has got a great shalaha. Because shalaha means a big shala, that is a big place, right? Big kind of a hall kind of a thing. Here it is not specified what type of shala, because there could be different types of shala. Yajñashala, Pakashala, Patashala, so many shalas are there. So we don't know. Here the Upanishad doesn't say what type of Mahashalaha Shaunaka was, but whatever it was, he was Mahashalaha. He had a very big shala. But given the context, we can take this as a reference to Yajñashala, a big place for conducting Vedic rituals. And generally, in every ashram or in a very big house also, there will be one specific hall for doing the rituals called Yajñashala or Yagashala. Even in Anakati ashram, if you go, this Yajñashala is a part of the temple complex. Dakshinamurti, then Narmadeshwar, then Ganapathy, Jnana Ganapathy, all deities are there. And Yajñashala is there, a big Yajñashala, there where they do all the yajñas. Similarly, in big houses, I have been to Varanasi long back, and I did all the, the karmas for my parents, etc. through one priest, very famous priest, very popular priest, I should say, in Varanasi. And he was a total Vedic person, and we went to his house and he had a very big Yajñashala. Every day morning, right from performing the yajñas along with his wife and all, he was following all the Vedic rituals, rather, whatever is prescribed in the Vedas. So Aupasanam, starting from Aupasanam, he will follow everything. So here we can take it as Yajñashala or Yagashala. Obviously, it could also refer to Pakashala. Pakashala means a big kitchen. Because those days, people used to do a lot of annadana. And for that, you require a big place to cook the food for a lot of people. So it could be Pakashala also. But since we are in Vedanta, the subject of Vedanta is not eating. Subject of Vedanta is spirituality. So we can take it as Yajñashala or Yagashala. So that Yagashala of Shaunaka was very huge. And therefore he was called Mahashala. Now what does this imply? It implies that he was a Grihastha. He was a Grihastha performing all rituals ordained in the Vedas and probably giving lot of Annadanam also. And therefore it is called Mahashala, or he is called Mahashala. Bhashyakara is going to explain Mahashala as Mahagrihastha, a great householder. Because for a householder, if you see the Varnashrama system, especially the Ashrama Dharma, it is only Grihastha who can earn, and then he has a responsibility to feed the other three ashramas like Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, and also Sannyasis. Brahmachari, obviously, he will be in a Gurukulam. He will not have any earning. Apart from doing his Nitya Naimittika karmas, he won't be involved in any cooking or feeding people. Similarly, Vanaprastha, After leading a very successful grihastha life, after ensuring that his children have grown up well settled, this person, either along with his wife or without wife, he will move towards a vanaprastha way of life, involving himself totally in upasanas. And he will have to lead a life of living on bhiksha only. Similarly, a sannyasi is all the more problem because he is a niragni also. He can't even go near the fire. He has already given up all his relationship with fire. So he can't do any cooking himself. Sannyasi has two options, either eat everything raw. And of course, that is not possible. You can't eat everything raw. Fruits you can eat, maybe some vegetables you can eat, but not all vegetables. So the other option for him is go on and live on bhiksha. So the bhiksha for a brahmachari, for the grihastha, for the vanaprastha and sannyasi are all responsibility of the grihastha. So grihastha can do all these activities, and therefore Bhashyakara says he was a mahagrihastha, a great householder, not an ordinary householder, huh? Because we are also householders. But then we are not great. We are ordinary householders. If somebody he says, why don't you invite me for lunch? We will tell that person, please call up first and then come. Because we will, whatever we cook, sometimes it is not sufficient for even our own needs. Or sometimes we cook little more and keep it in the fridge and next day and all we eat that. We can't feed all those things to the other three ashrama people. But this great householder, this Mahashala, was not like that. And there is another thing Bhashyakara wants to convey a message by saying Mahagrihastha. And that is indicating that a person has come to Brahma Vidya. He must have done Karma Yoga. Yagena, Danena, Tapasa, Vividishanti, says the Upanishad. Person gets Vividisha when a person has done Yajna, Dana, and Tapas in one's life. And this is indicated by Mahashala. And this Mahashala, Shaunaka, Vidivat Upasanna. Upasanna means approached. Vidivat, appropriately, duly, following the vidhi, following the procedure. So vidhi means procedure. Vidivat means following the procedure. Means whatever procedure is required to be followed by a disciple while approaching the teacher, following that procedure. We have seen the explanation what is the procedure in the context of the earlier slokas. So in keeping with the rule, there is a protocol, a particular way to approach the teacher. Some details will be given in this Upanishad itself. It will say, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam Samitpanihi Tad Vijnanartam Gurum Eva Abhigachet. Like that it will say, Samitpanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So taking Samit. Samit is what? Twigs, of this, what is the tree called, what in Tamil we call Alamaram. That in English, I don't know what is called that Alamaram. Anybody can help me? Alamaram. What is it called in English?
Banyan.
Banyan tree. Banyan tree, correct. So the twigs of the banyan tree are used in all the yajnas. It's a firewood, basically, but thin. Not firewood means we are not talking about the big logs, but twigs. Usually meant for all yagas, yajnas, any fire ritual. So, having taken Samit in the hand, Pani means hand. Samit Panihi means taking the samit in the hand. One should approach the teacher. Gurum eva abhigachet. Go to approach a teacher. And here we must understand this samit need not necessarily be literally taken as the twigs of a banyan tree. It can stand for anything which is useful to the teacher. The samit is a symbol of readiness to serve the teacher. And also it shows the value I have for learning. Because to collect the samit, see, these days you go to a shop and all that where they have all the puja items, you tell them I want 108 samit for some yaga, they will give you bundled and rubber band and all. But those days, a Shishya will have to go to the forest, and not some ordinary forest, a forest infested with all sorts of animals, locate a banyan tree, then collect the summit from there, come back, and this he has to do not only at the time of approaching the Guru, he has to do it every day. Because the Guru, if he is a Grihastha Guru, and most of the Gurus those times were Grihastha Gurus, they will be doing all the fire rituals throughout the day. So for that, the Shishya will be responsible for collecting the samit and giving it to him. If it is not samit, something else which is useful for the Guru. So the idea is that a student should be ready to serve the Guru. And even samit also, it should not be any kind of samit. Because what happens, if you go and buy a samit during rainy season in Bombay, it will all be very wet. You put it in the fire, there will be smoke all around. In fact, I remember my son, during his first, Upakarma, we do 1008 Gayatri Homa. So he did that. And it was because normally this Upakarma comes during this July, August, rainy season in Mumbai. Heavily raining, but then I still went to the market and got 1008 summit for that ritual. And we did it at home. The whole colony, our colony was full of smoke, and we couldn't even stand in the hall in our house. So much of smoke. And therefore, when he gives it to the Guru, it should not that the Guru is driven out of his house with all smoke. So it should be dry summit. It should not be green shoot of the tree. It should not be wet. It should be a dry one which can immediately be used in the fire ritual and which is ready to catch fire. All these things are there. And here in the mantra, it is very simple. Some explanation Bhashyakara will give. But then we learn about all these things much more through commentators, tippanis, tikas, and all that. And one commentator, he very, very interestingly says, through this offering of the summit, a dry summit which is ready to catch fire, the student indicates to the teacher that my intellect is also like this dry summit, ready to catch the fire of knowledge the moment you start teaching. Very, very, very interesting. That is why, when you read Bhashyam and Tika and all that, it's so enjoyable. So many perspectives you get of this very simple idea. So the Shishya is indicating, oh Guru, all that you have to do is just put a little bit of spark of knowledge. And it will flare up in my buddhi like this dry summit when you put it in the fire. And another commentator says, the dryness of the summit also indicates that I am free from raga, prejudices, and I am ready to get the fire of knowledge and also readiness to serve. So, whatever needs to be done for serving the Guru, you, the Guru, I am ready to do that. That is the symbolism of offering the summit. And therefore, this summit I am offering you is only a sort of an advance payment, advance Guru Dakshina, to demonstrate my readiness to serve you, to surrender to you in return for the knowledge that you are going to give me. All this is indicated by the word vidhivat. Vidhivat upasannaha, approached as per protocol. Approached whom? Angirasam. So he approached Rishi Angiras, who was the disciple in the previous mantra, if you recall. Now that Angiras is now the teacher. So to that Angiras, he approached appropriately, following the procedure. And what did he do? Papracha. Papracha means asked. He asked Angiras, the teacher. What did he ask? Kasminnu bhagavaha vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati iti. Bhagavaha means, oh Bhagavan. Bhagavan is not, Bhagavan means literally God. It's a respectful sambodhana to the teacher. So, oh Bhagavan, oh my Lord, you can even, because Guru is Bhagavan only. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara hai. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So even if we take this Bhagavaha as Bhagavan, it will fit into the meaning. Because in our tradition, we regard the Guru as the complete the Swarupam of Bhagavan only. And this is also a very popular or common way of addressing Mahatmas, especially in the North India. If you go to ashrams in Rishikesh and all, those sannyasis, even students and all, they will address the Mahatmas as Bhagavaha only. So, O Bhagavan, kasminnu vijñāte. Kasmin vijñāte. What is there knowing which? Sarvam idam. This everything. Vijñātam bhavati, becomes known. So the question which Shaunaka asks Angiras, it's a simple question. What is that? He says, what is that knowing which everything becomes known? It is having the sense like, hey Guru, I have heard that there is some cause, seems to be something in this universe, knowing which everything else in the world becomes known. So it's a simple question he is asking the Guru, but it's a very, very loaded question. This type of a question comes in almost every Upanishad. So it's right in the beginning itself, this question is asked by the Shishya to the Guru. The word nu is to indicate the doubt. Also to express one's reflection. The reflection or the assumption on the part of the student who is seeing a possibility. That there is, I've heard, there is something. Even though I don't understand what it is. So with nu, The translation would be, is there anything knowing which everything becomes known? Iti. This iti we have to connect with papracha. Iti papracha. Asked thus. So Shaunaka, who was a Mahashalaha, duly approached Rishi Angiras and asked thus, what? Is there anything knowing which everything becomes known? That is the question. So in this mantra, the Sishya Shaunaka is meeting the Guru Angiras and asking a question. So far, we did not hear any dialogue. We only heard the description that this Guru taught to that Sishya, and that Sishya again became Guru, and he taught to his Sishya, etc. But what did they teach? That has not been mentioned, except they're saying that they taught Brahma Vidya. Now, this Brahma Vidya is going to be started with a question by a disciple, and this question is there in this mantra. A very, very important question. What is that knowing which everything is known? And this particular sentence is going to be analyzed by Bhashyakara. That how can this question arise right in the beginning itself? Where there will be objection. There will be Purva Pakshi, he will raise, how can you ask this straight away, go to Guru and ask a question? How can you justify that? Isn't it? Even normally when we meet somebody, we will first ask, how are you? How is thing? How are your children, etc. So many Laukika things we will talk about before coming to anything connected with Vedanta. If it is a senior Guru, older Guru, we will meet the Guru and ask him, how is your health, Guruji? And, like that and all. First, all Laukika will be there. We'll come to Vedanta later on. But here, this Shaunaka straight away is asking a question. What is it that knowing which everything is known? So that is what is now Bhashyakara is going to deal with this in detail. We will read the Bhashya. Shaunakaha
Shaunakaha
Shunakasya Patyam
Shunakasya apatyam
Mahashalaha
Mahashalaha
Mahagrihastaha
Mahagrihastaha
Angirasam
Angirasam
Bharadwaja Shishyamacharyam
Bharadwaja Shishyamacharyam
Vidivat
Vidivat
Yata Shastramidyetat
Yata
शास्त्रमित्येतत्
Upasannaha
Upasannaha
Upagataha san
Upagataha
सन्
Papracha
Papracha
Prishtavan.
Prishtavan.
Up to this we will discuss. So in this mantra, the first line is describing the Adhikari who is qualified Mahashala. Means a person who has lived the life of Karma Yoga. So the first point is, by saying Mahashala, the Adhikari is talked about. Means if you want to come to Brahma Vidya, you should have practiced Karma Yoga for sufficient length of time. And the second point in the first line is the Vidhi. One has to follow the Vidhi when one approaches the teacher. And Vidhi, which is described in Shastra, that one has to follow. And the third point described is that when one goes to the teacher, one should ask a proper question. Papracha means asking a proper question, not any question. So the question should be asked after sufficient thinking. Such a question is called pariprashna in Sanskrit. And one should approach the teacher with all humility and as per convenience of the teacher. Upasanna also indicates that one has to go to the teacher and not call the teacher to your place. So all these points are suggested and Bhashyakara explains some of them. If anybody has unmuted, please mute yourself. So he starts with the name of the student, Shaunakaha. Shaunakaha means the son of Shunaka. His father's name was Shunaka. Apatya means child. Like, in English also we will say the name of the child, son of so and so and so, like that we say, no? Like that in Sanskrit also we say a child's name and then the father's name and then add apatyam puman. So Shaunakaha, Bhashyakara says, Shunakasya apatyam. Bhashyakara does not add puman because puman means son, which is understood. Shaunaka, because those days Brahma Vidya was given only to men. So that's why Bhashyakara feels that adding puman is a extra superfluous. So he doesn't add puman, which is understood. Then Bhashyakara described who is this Shaunakaha or who was this Shaunakaha. He says Mahashalaha. So this is the adjective to Shaunakaha. And we have seen that Shala literally means a hall. It can be Yagyashala, a hall for conducting rituals, or Pakashala, a dining hall with a kitchen. So as I said earlier, Mahashala means a person having a big hall for dining or serving food or conducting rituals. And Bhashyakara gives the meaning Mahagrihastaha, which means he is a great householder. And we have already discussed something about this Mahagrihastha, so I will not repeat it. But one point we must note. By this description, Mahagrihastaha, it becomes clear that even a householder has got adhikara, a right to gain Brahma Vidya. So even though he had earlier said sannyasa nishta, there also we interpreted it in such a way that not necessarily a formal sannyasi, but a person who has got an attitude of a sannyasi, who abides in the sannyasa dharma, is the main adhikari. Here he indicates that a grihastha is not an anadhikari, disqualified to learn Brahma Vidya. In fact, Bhashyakara himself had some of the biggest householders of those times as his close disciples. Some 14 disciples were there. Some of them were householders. And therefore, there is no such thing that Brahma Vidya is meant only for sannyasi. But we have to understand a sannyasa ashrama is a very most conducive ashrama for learning Brahma Vidya and also in abiding in that jnana. As a grihastha, it's a big challenge to learn, but it is not impossible. Grihasthas, they have become rishis and they have done this in the past. So when they have done it in the past, why not now? So therefore, sannyasa has got some advantage, more conducive, as I said. But a grihastha having the spirit of sannyasi is equally qualified person. Because even a formal sannyasi, with all the saffron robes and things like that and all, but not having the spirit of sannyasa, he will be an anadhikari only, not qualified for Brahma Vidya. Now, what do we mean by the spirit of sannyasa? Vairagyam for all worldly things and exclusive commitment to Vedanta. That is the spirit, that is the only requirement we refer to when we say spirit of sannyasa. So these are the two main things: exclusive commitment to Vedanta and vairagyam for everything else. Nothing should be more important than Brahma Vidya, the topmost and the only priority. That is what is called a sannyasa nishta or spirit of sannyasa. So Mahagrihastha he was. But now, after performance of Karma Yoga for a long time, for a reasonable period of time, he has attained sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. And therefore, he is a qualified Mahagrihastha. I think some noise I am getting. I am not sure. Muted everybody. So he is a qualified Mahagrihastha. Then Angirasam. So Shaunaka hai Angirasam. In the next sentence, Upasanna will come. But here, Bhashyakara explains who was Angiras. He says, Bharadwaja Shishyam Acharyam. He uses two adjectives for Angirasam. The first adjective is Bharadwaja Shishyam, disciple of Bharadwaja Muni Satyavaha. You must remember the previous sloka. And now he is Acharya, he is a teacher. So, Angirasam he describes as who is a teacher who was a disciple of Bharadwaja. By that, again, what Bhashyakara is suggesting is that a person can become a teacher only when he or she has been a student. A disciple without being a student cannot become a teacher. And a student without becoming a disciple also cannot become a teacher. Therefore, both are required. And the only exception is Bhagavan. Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Dakshinamurti, Bhagavan Narayana, you can take any Bhagavan. Need not be either a disciple or a student. They don't have to go to anybody. Because they are the one who actually gave the Veda itself to the world. So except for Bhagavan, everybody has to become a student before become the teacher. And this is a prerequisite. And therefore, Angiras has that qualification. And to indicate that, it is said, Bharadwaja Sishyam, the disciple and student of Bharadwaja, and Acharyam. Now he is an Acharya. So, Angirasam Bharadwaja Sishyam Acharyam. This Acharya, Shaunaka hai Upasanna hai. Shaunaka approached. So, Angiras, Rishi Angiras, who was described earlier, was approached by Shaunaka. Approach means what? Did he call him on the mobile phone and said, oh, Hari Om Guruji, I will drop in sometime later today. I want to learn this Brahma Vidya because a lot of people have heard. Did he do such a thing? Or did he go and knock the door of the Guru's house? Sir, may I come in? Nothing like that. Here, the mode of approach is described by one simple word. Bhashyakara says Vidivat or mantra says Vidivat. So Upasannaha and Vidivat should go together. Vidivat means as per Vidhi. Vat has got the sense of as per. In keeping with the Vidhi. Vidhi means the rule for approaching the teacher. So he approached the teacher as per the rule of approaching. And Bhashyakara explains Vidivat as Yatha Shastram Ityetat. We have already seen there is a particular Vidhi, a particular method described in the Shastra, how one should approach the teacher. Therefore, Vidivat is equal to Yatha Shastram, in keeping with the scriptures, as per the instructions of the scriptures. Ityetat means this is the meaning. So he approached the teacher as per the scriptures means as per the rules prescribed in the scriptures. We have seen the rule already, Samit Panihi, etc. So a student should approach the teacher with some gift or something, some Guru Dakshina, advanced Guru Dakshina, which will be useful to the teacher. And the easiest thing is when you go to meet the teacher, carry some fruits with you. That's all. Because any person will eat fruits. And if the teacher is a sannyasi, it will be very helpful for him. To that extent, he need not go for bhiksha. In fact, I have heard, I don't know, of course, secondary sources. I have heard that when Swami Paramarthanandaji, as a brahmachari, went to meet Puja Swamiji, Dayanand Saraswati at Sandipani in Mumbai, he really literally carried Samit in a bag and offered it to him after doing Namaskara. Puja Swamiji was seeing him for the first time, and of course he knew purpose for which he had come. That is to join Sandipani to learn Brahma Vidya. He was a brahmachari. So then Puja Swamiji said, I need not interview him to find out his adhikaritvam because his offering Samit itself shows how tuned to Shastra he is. Such a beautiful examples we get from the lives of all these Mahatmas. So, now when one approaches a Grihastha Acharya, offering Samit will make sense because as a Grihastha, he will need Samit for doing Nitya Karmas like Aupasanam, etc. But to a sannyasi acharya, offering Samit will not be useful because a sannyasi will not perform any fire ritual. Therefore, the idea is that offering Samit is symbolic. And as we saw earlier, it shows the readiness on the part of the Sishya to serve the Acharya and also shows how much he values this Vidya. That importance should be shown, That's why, I'm reminded of a practice of a friend of mine who was in Kuwait, who is still now in Kuwait. What he will do, see, normally we used to go to buy some plants, etc., from some nurseries. Big nurseries are there. And lot of people will be there. So there will be very few people guiding you to which plant is there, where, and what is the type of plant, what are its features, etc. Very few people will be there. So you have to sometimes spend a lot of time waiting for one guy to become free to guide us. So what my friend used to do, he will first and go and give him some, quarter dinar or half dinar to one of those persons as a dakshina. The moment you give something which is useful to him, he will drop everybody else and he will come and attend to us. So that is showing the importance that we are according to that person, his services, that his knowledge of the entire nursery, where what is available, which will be helpful to us during our nursery shopping. So this shows on the part of the Shishya. Of course, this is here the Shishya is not doing. Guru is teaching, Guru is doing the job in the nursery. But in the context of Vedanta, this offering of some gift, etc., or even summit to a Grihastha Guru shows the readiness on the part of Shishya to serve the Acharya, and also shows how much he values this Vidya. And of course, moreover, as I said earlier, the Shishya would be in those days a brahmachari and would not have any means to give money or any other gift. But he can easily collect samit from the forest with some effort and then offer it to the teacher. And this is what is meant by Vidivat, readiness to serve with humility. Then the Shishya will seek permission of the Acharya to ask a question. If the Acharya permits, he will go ahead and ask the question. In many cases, the Acharya may say, no, you don't ask any question now. You stay in the ashram. Let me observe you. And then only I will actually formally admit you as my Shishya. And then once you have admitted formally as a Shishya, you can ask a question. Till such time, you are free to live in this ashram, do salt, seva, etc. So that the Guru wants to observe the Shishya, whether he is really meant for Brahma Vidya or not. Today, everybody joins all these Vedanta classes, online classes, personal classes and all that, without, going through any process of selection or anything. Well, many times gurus also are under pressure. I've learned something, so I have to teach. Of course, many gurus use the teaching as an instrument for their own nididhyasa, like I am doing. I've got a self-interest in teaching. And that is why I keep on saying thanks to all of you, because you are all giving me an opportunity to recollect and, what you say, recall all my learnings which I have learned about Vedanta, and it is helping me a lot. My concepts are becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. So, even seeking the permission of the Guru Acharya for asking a question is a part of the Vidhi. And Yatha Shastra. So, this is given in the Shastra itself. All these are explained. In this Upanishad itself, it is given. In Bhagavad Gita also, it is given. Of course, here, Bhashyakara is not referring to Bhagavad Gita, because when this Upanishad was given to the world, Bhagavad Gita was not existing. It comes much later. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Vyasacharya has only borrowed all these ideas from the Upanishads only in talking about this vidhis in the Bhagavad Gita. There it is talked in the 4th chapter. Bhagavad Gita students will remember. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinah. If you remember this sloka, 34th sloka of the 4th chapter. Tat vidhi means may you gain that knowledge. Pranipatena, by doing namaskara, sevaya, by service, pariprashnena, by proper inquiry, jnaninaha, the wise, tattvadarshinaha, those who have realized the truth, the sages, upadekshanti, will impart jnanam, that knowledge, te, to you. So even Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is advising Arjuna the vidhi for approaching a teacher, prescribing the vidhi for approaching a teacher. So here Shaunaka vidhivat upasannaha. And upasannaha Bhashyakara says is equal to upagataha. Gam dhatu, in the sense of going. Upa means near. So he says upagataha son means having gone near, having gone approached. Papracha, prishtava. Papracha means asked. Papracha is the verbal form. And Prishtavan is the participle conveying the same meaning. As I said earlier also, Bhashyakara style of explaining a verb, the meaning of a verbal of a verb is use a corresponding participle to explain. Because in practice, in Sanskrit, using a participle in place of a verb is very easy. Participle, you don't need to remember many forms, what is applicable to, this is, what is that, applicable to singular, plural, dual, etc. And then also, commonly you can say Prishtavan, it can be applied to anybody, that is male, female and all that, or Prishtavati, you can say for female, but conveying the same meaning. So most people in Sanskrit, even in writing, in the literature, these days stories and all, they will use more of the participle rather than the verb. So Shaunaka, a great householder, having duly approached Angiras as per rule in the manner prescribed in the Shastra, asked. This is what Bhashyakara explains as the meaning of this mantra. Now, an interesting question or doubt can be raised. And what is that? Here it is mentioned that Shaunaka approached Angiras Vidhivat. What is the need for stating that he approached as per rule in the manner prescribed by Shastra? What is the relevance? What is the significance of stating that? Or is there any significance at all or not? Because Upanishad generally will not state anything without a purpose. Upanishad will not contain any unnecessary details. There will be no superfluous, one thing said again it is repeated. No, it will not be there. You will not find it in Upanishad. But if there is a word used, then it becomes our responsibility not to ignore it, but to try to find out the complete meaning and context. Also, the Upanishad here has already talked about this teaching parampara, starting from Brahmaji and being passed on through 4 generations of students who later became the teachers. In none of those cases, this is mentioned that Vidhivat Upasannaha. But only when it comes to Shaunaka, the Upanishad says he approached Angiras Vidhivat. Does it mean that in other cases, the student did not approach the Acharya Vidhivat? That only in the case of Shaunaka he did? It's a very relevant question, isn't it? Otherwise, Upanishad should have said in the beginning itself that Atharva approached Brahmaji Vidhivat and then he was taught. Even though he was his son. But still, as an Acharya, there is a procedure. So what is the significance mentioning it only here? And Bhashyakara says there is a significance. So we will read the next sentence. Shaunakangirasoho.
Shaunakangirasoho.
I hope nobody is sleeping. Sambandadam. Sambandadava. Sambandadava.
Sambandadarvak.
Vidhivat Visheshanat.
Vidhivat
Vidhivat
Visheshanat.
Upasarana Videhe.
Upasatana Videhe.
Purvesham Aniyama iti.
Purvesham
Aniyama iti.
Gamyate.
Gamyate.
Maryada Karanartam.
Maryada
Karanartam.
Madhyadipika Nyayartam va.
Madhyadipika
Nyayartam va.
Visheshanam. Asmadadishvapi.
Asmadadishvapi.
Upasadana videhe ishtatvat.
Upasatana
Videhe ishtatvat.
I am also reading these sentences after a long time. So anyhow, because one has to actually read all these sentences, memorize them, then only it will be easy to read in the class. But unfortunately, we are busy with so many things. All this memorizing the Upanishad and also Bhashyam and all is very far-fetched ideas for us. Anyhow, the idea is we have to read and then we have to understand the meanings. So here, Bhashyakara gives two possible answers to that question. Remember the question. What is the question? Why is this Vidhivat mentioned only in this mantra and it is not talked about in the earlier mantras? What is the significance of that? And Bhashyakara says we can see this particular situation in two ways. One is that this rule was not observed by the first 5 links. Means the first 4 disciples, Atharva, Angir, Satyavaha and Angiras, perhaps did not follow these rules. But from Shaunaka downward, all other Sishyas coming after Shaunaka, it was followed. So this is the first interpretation. And therefore, sorry? Anybody saying something? Please mute yourself. I keep repeating, but unfortunately, somebody, I don't know, by mistake, they unmute themselves and then there is a disturbance. So, Shaunaka downward, it was followed. So, first interpretation is this. So, Shaunaka becomes a border line, which we call Maryada. The second interpretation is that Shaunaka is just a representative of all disciples. So, Shaunaka followed, and before that also all 4 disciples, Atharva, Angir, Satyavaha, Angiras had also followed. His name is there in between the previous one and the later ones. So here he is like a Madhya Deepika. Madhya Deepika means if you keep a lamp in between 2 rooms, it will actually throw light in both the rooms. We'll discuss more about Madhya Deepika later. So, two approaches, two possibilities Bhashyakara is indicating in this Bhashyam. So the details of the Bhashyam we will see in the next class. Okay. I will say the prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavada hai everybody. Thank you very much.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Guruji, wish you a happy new year in
Hari Om.
advance.
I wish you all a very happy new year.
Hari Om Guruji.
Same to you, ಗುರುಜಿ.
Thank you, English New Year.
Yeah, happy new year.
Thank you very much.
Happy
ಗುರುಜಿ,
New Year to all.
just a comment
Thank you,
now.
Guruji. Hari Om.
Just a comment about Chandogya 6th chapter. When the son comes to his father after going through the school, that then he says, "Have you learnt everything?" Yes, I have learnt everything. Then he says, "What is that one which, by knowing it, you will know everything?" So he says, "My guru didn't tell me this because he didn't know." That's what he says. Now,
He
father
didn't
tells
say,
him,
he didn't say he didn't know. He said, if my guru had known, he would have certainly told me.
yeah,
He didn't
something
say,
very
"No,
similar.
he didn't know." If he had known, he would have told me. He did not say anything like that. So there is nothing like that, the son says. Then the father says, go
Yes.
back to the guru and learn. Ask him this question. So that is
very similar.
I will discuss that in the context of this only later on. We will come to that. Yeah. We'll discuss the Chandogya.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Because as I said, in every Upanishad it comes. In Kathopanishad it is there. Nachiketas ask Yamaraja, what is that? People say that all these things are there. So what is that? Of course, the words are different. The way of asking is different. But the implication is the same. That is it. Referring to the Brahma Vidya. Okay. Okay, good.
Today there was some audio disturbance, Guruji, in between.
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
I don't know whether it was what kind of a disturbance. Yeah, I am sitting in a room.
Voice was breaking in
Oh, voice
between.
was
But
breaking. Is
our
it-
small, I don't know for all others, but I had some problem.
Okay.
Hey,
What
no,
about
I
others?
thought it was raining in Coimbatore.
No, I'm not in Coimbatore. I'm in Chennai now. I'm in a place called Oragadam in Chennai. So, of course, it is in Chennai also some rains are there, but right now there is no rain and I'm in a totally closed room with air condition on. So, outside
It's
noise
in
cannot be there. There is no outside noise.
It's an internet disruption.
But probably internet only. That's quite possible. Anyhow, if you have not heard some part of it, you can always listen to the audio, the video after where I circulate it later this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ, ಗುರುಜಿ.
Any question? No questions, no hands going up. So shall we close the session?
I think yes.
Yes. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you all very much.
Hari Om
See you
Guruji,
in the
thank
next
you.
class.
Good
Hari
night.
Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.